welcome back to my cozy corner of the internet. I'm Mayastar, and this is the Mayastar Podcast. I teach energy healing courses online through Mayastar Academy, share spiritual guidance and mystical musings on the Maya Muses blog, and provide healing, ritual, and spellcasting services. As a star-seeded shaman and professional witch, on the Mayastar Podcast, I release articles, discussions, and energy updates every week, covering energy healing, spiritual awakening, lightworkers, starseeds, magic, and New Age spirituality. This episode is being re-released with upgraded audio and new cover art to coincide with the launch of the new Mayastar Podcast YouTube channel. Please check it out and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of the new content coming soon. And welcome back to my cozy corner of the internet. I'm Mayastar, and today we have another unscripted video. And this unscripted video is going to be going out just as the special offers for the summer solstice are going out. So that's what I'm working on right now. Although this is being recorded a couple of weeks early, I'm working on the meditation for the summer solstice, and I'm really looking forward to that. I've decided to do it a little bit differently, and I'll discuss that later in this episode. But I wanted to start off by talking about the special offers that will be going out to take advantage of the summer solstice energy, and which have been chosen to make the most of the natural energetic tides, because the summer solstice is a very powerful energetic opportunity for anybody who wants to develop their healing abilities and progress their manifesting work, because the solstice energy is it's the full energy of the sun. It's the sun at its highest point and its most potent for the entire year. And solar energy is excellent for energy healing in general, but it's also associated with the solar plexus chakra, which is right in the sort of center of your body. And through that energy center, we connect with our own power and our vital source energy. So as we connect with the sun, it's worth reflecting on the fact that those energies are also awake within you, and the solstice energy is very natural for your energy field to connect with. And if you want to enhance that experience, I'm going to recommend listening to the Solstice Love meditation track that I'll be putting out, because that's really inspired by these energies. And I'm intending this meditation to be used for those taking particular types of spells as well. So spells that are around prosperity, abundance, success, like the Crown of Success, High John the Conqueror. All of these spells will be amplified by this meditation. So in future, when people are taking particular spells through me, or any magical intensives, where it's appropriate, this is one of the ones I'll be recommending for people to listen to in order to amplify the results. And listening to a meditation each night of a magical intensive can help to eliminate unconscious resistance that might otherwise slow down the manifestation of change, or just limit the amount of change that you can experience at that time. It's often our own unconscious blocks that prevent magic from manifesting fully. So that's one thing that the meditations can be used for, to support and amplify the effects of my magical workings. But not only that, these meditations can also be used during attunements and when working with energy healing modalities. So this week, for the summer solstice energy, I was moved to choose the Love Flush Empowerments course for the special offer over this time. The Love Flush Empowerments are a gentle energy healing modality, but they can be very powerful in helping you to express love in all ways. So it's not just about romantic relationships, and it's not just about self-love, and it's not just about your friends and family, or drawing in a new relationship or anything like that. It's all of those things and more, because it's love energy that connects you with the earth and with the spiritual beings that support you on your journey. So it can help to enhance those connections as well. It's also a great energy to use for self-healing practices and for your self-care rituals. So it's very versatile, and it can have profound effects if you're blocked in the area of love, connection, trust. If you've been through a difficult relationship or a toxic connection with somebody, this can be a powerful way to start healing from that in order to move forward, reminding you on an energetic level of what a real loving energy feels like, and that can really progress your path, because a lot of times when people have been through a difficult or toxic relationship, it colours their connection with other people moving forwards. For example, a romantic relationship that goes wrong might lead you to feel less trusting and more cynical towards other people, and that's not only going to affect the next romantic relationship you have, but it can colour the relationships, friendships, and just passing acquaintances you have, because you're slightly judging people in a different way. Your yardstick has been updated, made a little bit shorter perhaps, and you're not taking any chances now. So you're on the lookout for problems, that's a good thing, to be on the lookout for problems so that they don't, come at you unawares. But if you're too hyper vigilant, you can end up causing yourself a lot of upset and affecting friendships, affecting relationships with your family, because you're not as emotionally engaged as you were before. So I think this is a great energy healing modality for people that are moving on from an old relationship and looking to move past limitations that may have come from some sort of toxicity or unhealthy pattern of attachment to the other person. Now, what I would say about that is, if a relationship is unhealthy in many ways, it's kind of like an addiction. you're forever pursuing the dopamine high, or perhaps the oxytocin, or some sort of chemical that is released in your body. And you may not realize it, but it's often the most intense relationships that people think of as being a soulmate connection. But that's not really the case. Those relationships where you feel like, oh, I would die for them, and oh, I can't go on without them, this is the whole meaning of my life. That's not a soulmate relationship. Relationships that are too intense are generally masking a kind of addiction where you're using the other person to complete you. That's not healthy. That's not sustainable. And the love flush empowerments can help you to recognize the difference between the need to validate yourself by interacting with another person and feeling complete in yourself and being able to share that with another person. A healthy relationship is one that you go into when you don't need it. You go into it because you want to be in a relationship, not because you need to be in a relationship. If you have the feeling that you need to be in a relationship, it's probably best to sit with yourself and analyze where that need is coming from, so that you can resolve those issues before you get entangled with another person. Because if you go into a relationship with those kinds of vulnerabilities, the relationship doesn't heal them. It acts as a distraction a lot of the time, and sometimes that amplifies the problems, and over the months or even years, you don't progress that healing. You put it on a back burner. Maybe you ignore it, or you just want to believe that somehow the other person is the solution to that problem for you. But that's exactly how a toxic relationship starts. And it's really about your motivation. If you're completely happy with yourself, if you've attended to your healing and you feel ready for a relationship, that's one thing. So with the love flush empowerment, what I'm hoping is that will help people that are feeling ready to move on from any toxic patterns that they've been following for the months or years. And you don't have to be out of a relationship to tend to that sort of healing either. You can be in a relationship and do it, but it would have to be a very healthy relationship where the other person is able to maintain healthy boundaries, even at times you're not. That's probably the telltale sign of a toxic relationship, is that you don't have healthy boundaries, or you're not able to anticipate when somebody is disrespecting your boundaries. You don't notice it, or you make excuses for them, that sort of thing, rather than actually dealing with the reality, because you're in the relationship for a reason other than what's real. You're in the relationship as a way to almost medicate yourself and justify yourself and justify your past experiences. A lot of times we get into relationships where we're just playing out the same routines but with new people, and unless you stop at some point and go, this isn't working out, I'm always attracting terrible people into my life, what am I going to do about it? Unless you actually stop and address it, then you're likely to keep repeating it. So again, this is another opportunity for working with the love flush empowerments in order to bring things to a healthy balance and progress your healing journey by attending to your self-love, as well as looking outside at the relationships you have. The first relationship you have has to be with yourself. If you're not happy with yourself, you're not going to suddenly be happy with yourself because somebody else is sitting next to you. That won't work. If you're thinking it will work, that you're heading for a bit of a disaster. It's something you will need to work out yourself before you can go into a relationship. And then when you understand that, you recognize that if you go into a relationship with somebody who sees you as the solution to their problems, that's a bit of a red flag. That's not going to work. That's not healthy. That's not love. That's not love. It might even feel like it is, but that's sort of like a conditional relationship. You're starting out with an agenda, and a lot of times people do this unconsciously, and it can be difficult to resolve it because they don't recognize the part they play in it. So that's another thing that the love flush empowerments could help. If you feel like you're repeating a cycle but you can't quite identify what the problem is, what do you mean by what you're doing? What do the thoughts and feelings behind your actions tell you about your true, deep motivation? And are your motives in alignment with your highest spiritual intentions? Or are you stuck in a pattern of behaviour that might hold you back in the long run? So the solstice energy really lends itself to this. As I say, it amplifies all kinds of workings. It's a very powerful time of year, but those magical workings and ritual intensives that are for drawing positive energy in and success, prosperity and all the good things is the perfect time. So that's why the luring moon has been chosen for this particular special offer. But that one's only for newsletter subscribers. So if you want to participate, you'll need to join the mailing list, and you would need to do that before Thursday, because is that right? Hang on, I can't. trying to think ahead for the dates. Anyway, you've got limited time if you want to do that, and you would need to be a newsletter subscriber to receive that one. So that's the main updates done, and I wanted to talk about the meditation track. The meditation track for this week is to amplify the solstice energy, so that if you're working on the love flush energy healing system, or the luring moon intensive, or any system that is connected with solar energy, like the solar goddess radiance attunement, or any of the attunements or spells that are connected with abundance and prosperity, this will be a powerful meditation for amplifying those effects. And one of the things I've done this week is, rather than using the Lemurian runes that I use for my light language mantras, I've used the ancient Norse runes and created a rune song for amplifying the solstice energy. So it may have a different vibe than the previous meditations. And if you feel connected with the Norse energies, working with the Norse deities or with the ancient runes, you might find this an extra powerful meditation. So there are quite a few layers of sound that I've combined, and I'm still smoothing everything out at the moment. So even I haven't heard the finished thing, but we're getting there, and it feels very different. It feels like sunrise at Stonehenge or something like that. It's got a sort of mystical vibe. Well, it should have. I'm the one that's making it. I've got a kind of mystical vibe myself. I don't know if you noticed, but it's one of those things. Yeah, so the way this meditation is panning out is it's turning out different than I started, different than I intended, but it's very powerful. I was kind of thinking of it as a sunrise meditation, but it sort of has a party feel to it in a way. I'm not sure why. I guess that's just the solstice energy, because when I'm thinking of, perhaps it's the sound of staying up all night waiting for the sun to come up on the solstice morning, something that I've done a lot in my life. So I guess it's that energy. I thought of it as being a sunrise kind of music, but it ended up feeling like an all-night party kind of music for me anyway. And so there you go. That's your music for listening to as the sun's coming up and you've been up all night celebrating the summer solstice. That's the vibe we're going for. I'll just check my notes and make sure I haven't missed anything important there. Oh yeah, still on the subject of the meditation, I wanted to talk about a few of the runes that are included in the rune song that's included in that meditation. Tell you a bit about those energies. Hey, I've chosen the rune Vehu as the main rune for this rune song, which means cattle and is one of Freya's runes. The goddess Freya, for me, is very Queen of Pentacles energy and very Empress energy, if you're into the tarot and those archetypes. And the rune Vehu refers to cattle, which were once a symbolic representation of wealth. Like, rather than investing your money in property or expensive cars, you had livestock, and the richer you were, the more you had. So Vehu is about Freya's connection with prosperity and comfortable living, having enough. It's also about gratitude for the things you do have, because without gratitude, without appreciating what you have, you won't gain more of it. If you don't see what you have, like if you don't see it when you've got a little, you won't see it when you've got a lot, because you're blinding yourself to what you actually have. So I feel like Vehu is a great rune for manifesting work, especially if you're manifesting abundance and prosperity, or a home, a happy home. And so in that regard, because I have that connection with Freya in the form of the Empress and the Queen of Pentacles at the same time, the Empress energy is very much the love goddess energy, which is another aspect of the goddess Freya. So I feel like that particular rune is very potent for manifesting work and love. So think of that as the happy home and prosperous, comfortable living type of rune. So that's the main rune for this rune song. The next rune that I was drawn to for this particular meditation was Yera. Yera means year, and this rune, for me, is the one that I work with at the summer solstice specifically. I don't think that's a traditional meaning for this rune, but it's where it falls within my energetic landscape. So it's the point for me, it's the point at which things rotate. You're at a crossroads. In a way, it has a sort of Wheel of Fortune energy, and in other respects it has a magician energy for me, because it's about change, but conscious change. Like the fact that it means year refers to the cycle of the year, the changes that we experience with the seasons. These are things that we don't have any control over, but if we're mindful and we are focused on our growth, we can harness those energies and use them consciously. So that's where I'm getting that magician energy from. So again, powerful for manifesting and powerful for progressive changes, putting you in the driving seat of your life. So that's another of the runes included in this rune song. Okay, the next rune is Unio. Unio is the wish rune. It's the rune of granted wishes. Think of the Nine of Cups, for example, or even the Ace of Cups. It's that kind of energy. And if you get that Cups energy, you'll also appreciate that this rune is about love and relationships for me as well. I tend to connect this with the Swan Maidens, who are Valkyries in a different aspect, where rather than being ferocious or and dealing with their battlefield ordinances, the Swan Maidens are more magical, light-hearted. Not always, but they are a more approachable aspect, I think, of the Valkyries. And I work with that aspect of the Valkyries a lot. I have done for a very long time now. And that's one of the runes that can be used to connect with them. And Unio means wish. So it is about wishing, hoping, intending. It's about defining your desires in order to progress your path in that direction. So in some ways you could see it as the conception of not so much an idea, but something that's going to really, you'll be able to put your energy into. It's like defining your passion allows you to explore yourself, your inner world in the outer world. You're bringing your inner hopes and intentions into a different form by manifesting them, defining them in your words, putting them on your vision board, those sorts of things. So the wish rune is not only about wishes coming true, it's about defining your wishes. So that works well in this rune song, combining with the other runes. The next rune that I included in this rune song is Perthro. Now, this one is quite an ambiguous rune. I've seen a lot of really wildly different interpretations of this rune, so I'm going by my own experience of working with this energy. I see this rune as very much about creativity. Again, there's a bit of a Wheel of Fortune energy to it, because I feel that it is also about anything is possible. It's the energy of promise and potential and all the possibilities that could come to pass, all the different chances you have, all the different opportunities that might arise. It's the opening yourself up to the possibilities rune for me. But it can also be used for creativity, which again is a process of opening yourself up to the possibilities. So it's that kind of energy. Now, if I was to compare it to tarot to try to explain that for you a bit more, I would say, perhaps a bit of the Ace of Cups, a bit of all of the aces, in fact. I'd say it was a combination of all of the aces in the Perthro rune, but perhaps a bit more strongly towards the water and earth elements, because the water and earth elements, I would say, are most powerful in that, or certainly for this working, certainly for this meditation. Those are the elements that I've drawn in. And the next rune that's included in our rune song for the Solstice Love meditation is Lagus. Lagus means lake, but this rune refers to the element of water, and I see that as a lake energy, but also as the sea. So some of the runes that I use vary depending on how I'm using them in that working. I mean, bear in mind, these are runes that I'm combining together for this meditation. If I was taking the Lagus rune on its own for another purpose, like it could be used in a love spell, for example, or in work to enhance your intuition and that kind of thing. But in the way that I'm using it for this meditation, the Lagus rune represents the abundance of the ocean, the life that comes to us from the sea. Not just food in the form of fish, for example, but also commerce. So the idea of your ship coming in. So think about the Three of Wands sort of energy. But also, again, there's that cups energy because of the connection with water. So, very Nine of Cups, Ace of Cups sort of vibes in this particular in this particular rune song for this meditation, because of the solstice energy. That's what I wanted to focus on, bringing those elements in. And the final rune in our rune song is Sowilo. Now, Sowilo is the sun rune. It has a bit of the Yera vibes to it, in a way, or in the way that I'm using it in this working. But obviously, with its sun connection, you can also think of the tarot card, the sun, and that is about fun, opportunities, new life, success, not worrying about the future, but really grounding yourself in the present and enjoying the moment. It's the enjoying a day in the sun kind of card, and obviously that's going to work well for the solstice love meditation. So these are the runes that I've combined in the track, And as well as the music and the general sound of that's to express the vibration of solstice love, the runes amplify that intention. So I hope you'll pick up on that. I hope you'll enjoy it. And if you do, I hope you'll keep listening to it whenever you need to tap into that uplifting and high vibrational energy. So I'm hopeful this is going to be a powerful meditation for you to use going forward. I feel like it's going to be one that really lends itself to a morning practice, for your meditation, for your doing yoga first thing in the morning, or just to accompany your energy healing practice. And if you're doing any sort of manifesting work, this is the meditation that I would recommend for that, for your visualization sessions, completing your gratitude journal and those kinds of activities. I feel that these runes will really amplify that. And of course, as I said, if you're taking the Luring Moon Abundance Alignment Intensive, this will be a powerful meditation to listen to throughout. Now, when someone's doing one of those intensives with me, whether it's the Killing Moon, the 21-day Chakra Healing and Light Body Activation Intensive, or the Luring Moon Abundance Alignment Intensive, these intensives run for consecutive days. So the energy builds up over a period of time, creates a very powerful shift in your energy field, and you can amplify it by using the meditations each night. Now, I recommend using them at night because it helps you to send a message to your unconscious mind of what your conscious intentions are. So you can help to align your unconscious mind with your conscious intentions in order to smooth the path so that you don't come up against inner conflict so much, and change manifests more quickly. So if you think about how a spell works, the changes are seeded on the astral plane initially, and changes occur within your energy field. But those changes, although they happen quickly, they have to be translated through time into effects around you, into your life. So the way I would explain that is that the magick is the seed being sown and fertilized, and all the weeds are cleared and everything is set up and optimized, but then you still have to wait for the process of it growing. You don't suddenly, it doesn't happen immediately. The changes in your life happen gradually and they build on top of each other. So the initial change happens within, and then the changes are reflected outwardly. As those changes are being reflected outwardly, some people can experience unconscious resistance. They start to feel a bit anxious about things changing, or they feel worried that history is going to repeat itself. Something bad happened in the past, it's going to happen again, or it can be things like that. Or it can just be that you're so focused on what you've achieved in the past that you can't imagine achieving more. You can't imagine a life beyond that. So it's those sorts of limitations that can be unconscious. You may not realize that you're holding on to beliefs and restrictions for yourself. So one of the ways to avoid that being a problem is to use the meditations each night before you go to bed, in order to spend that time focused on being open to positive and progressive change, And then you can, if you want, play the meditation overnight using one of the live streams on my main YouTube channel. Those are 12-hour videos with different ambient tracks and light code meditations that you can use to play in the background while you sleep. Again, just reinforcing your intention to be receptive to positive and progressive change. I feel like this meditation will be good for that during the luring moon intensive, but also for any sort of healing work. So the healing intensive or the prosperity spell, Crown of Success, Hydron the Conqueror, these would all be amplified by this. And I think that's everything that I wanted to cover for this week's Unscripted. I hope you've enjoyed this little talk, and I hope you'll be back here next week for another one. If you've enjoyed this video or podcast, please remember to subscribe, share it with your friends if you feel moved to do that. I would really appreciate it if you did. And don't forget to subscribe to me on Spotify or Amazon Music or Apple Music or any of the music apps, so you can stay up to date with my meditations being released. Look out for the new energy updates video that will be going out on Monday, and the release for the meditation track on the podcast and the video version on the YouTube channel will be on Wednesday. So make sure you've got your notifications on so that you're one of the first to hear when that goes live. And that's everything we've got to cover for today. I hope you've enjoyed your time with me today, and I look forward to seeing you again in a week. So in the meantime, I wish you peace, prosperity, and progress in all you do. With blessings.